Now officially live. Hi, I am Blake Cabot. I am the owner of FacePaintcom. I have Vanessa Mendoza, the the non-air conditioned legend from LA. So she's got a fan. You can see the fan blowing. So she is relatively warm. And she's been doing sugar skulls she's been face painting for 10 years. She's got Color Me Face Paint. Is that right?
Yes, Color Me Face Painting.
Color Me Face Painting is her business, and this is her passion. So we're excited to see her. Pam Kinneberg told me and said, you've got to really get Vanessa if you want to do sugar skulls. So
thank you, Pam.
Well, yeah, she is awesome. I pretty much just do whatever Pam tells me. Anyway, so with that, let's start. So just to kind of hit it, Vanessa, why do you like sugar skulls?
Well, I love the meaning behind them. And so, with sugar skulls, it represents the people that have passed and have moved on. And so I do a lot of events, public events, festivals. And so every time somebody sits in my chair, every story is different. And so as an artist, it really gives me an outlet to be able to face paint something special for them, something that's different and that's not the same thing every single time. I love it. It's a great experience. It means so much, and it's a beautiful thing. Normally for people, even when people attend these festivals, they kind of think it's something supposed to be scary because it's a skull. But these skulls are meant to be beautiful, and they represent something beautiful. So I've fallen in love with it, and I've been face painting for over 10 years. But sugar skulls, I only get to do kind of seasonal, but it's my favorite thing, and I love it so much.
Yep, cool. So on we go. So we're going to do her husband Danny is going to be the first, and this is his first sugar skull, which I find amazing as a fact because Danny's been married for a while. So to Vanessa. So okay, we'll start that.
Okay.
So just my promo, we have on FacePaint.com, we have 20% off and free shipping if for orders over $50. So buy your face paint soon. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Danny.
All right, so we'll get started. And so what I start off with is Krylon white applied with the kabuki brush. And so a lot of people will message me and ask me, like, how do I get the base of the face paint to look so smooth? And the Krylon paint is super powdery and just super easy to work with and blend, and it's buildable. And with the kabuki brush, I can go in a circular motion and kind of drag it, and it never gives me like any creases or streaks or anything like that. I just keep applying. So for me, this is like the best way to apply the base of paint. And since it's a sugar skull and you're painting, you need to paint a large amount of the face. It's great because I can get a lot painted in a little amount of time and with little effort. So even though I'm going to be filling up the eyes, I still like to cover them with the white because then I don't have to worry about any negative space that I didn't get to paint. So for me, it's just it doesn't take too much effort to fill those eyes in with the kabuki brush that I have with the white. So just makes it, easy.
Well, we got people from Holland, Argentina, Israel. And somebody asked, she said, Anna says you're her favorite artist and she loves your Katrinas. What's a Katrina? I don't know.
It's a Katrina. Yes. That's how you say the sugar skulls.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
A Katrina is a sugar skull. Now I know.
So you can see it's pretty buildable and it's smooth.
Right.
And so, and it translates really well with the camera too. I take a lot of my own pictures with my phone, and this base of the paint is super buildable.
Uh-huh.
All right, so that's
Well,
the
that's
base.
pretty quick.
Yeah, and again, for me, this is really quick, especially when you have to do a full face like that. So instead of going in with a sponge, and especially too if you're doing wax paint, it's just going to be a little bit more blotchy, a little bit harder to work with. So I do really like the Krylon white. Okay, so as far as like filling in the face for the black, or it's going to be the hollow parts of the skull. I use a lot of powders. I use makeup palettes. This is just one of them that I have. This palette I got this past year, and I really love it because it kind of has that. It's like a true art palette. So I actually have it on display when I'm doing my festivals.
Uh-huh.
But any kind of palette will work. You just want something that's pigmented, so the colors that you don't have to keep building them. This one is a black that I'm going to use, and I'm applying it with a blender, little blendy brush.
Yeah.
They're reusable, they're disposable as well.
Which black are you using? Krylon?
I'm using the black from my palette right here.
Okay, so you don't know who manufactured it?
Well, this is Glam Light. But again, you can go in and you can go with whatever brand that you like, as long as it's pigmented. This one I find that is super pigmented. I've used the Star Blends. It's just not as black as I'd like it to be.
So you're not big into the glycerin paints. You're more into the wax-based paints for something like this?
No. So the bliss for as far as like the powders.
Because Star Blend is just makeup, right? I mean, Star Blend is yeah.
So it's a powder. And so with this brush, it's easy because I can just kind of swivel back and forth to give me that shape that I want for the inner corner of the eye, and I can also drag it and use the round tip of it to just keep the shape of it round as I go around the eye. So it's super easy to work with. I know we're all used to using a brush, like the actual bristle brush, but this, when it comes to sponges, you have to manipulate those sponges sometimes to give you what you want, but this is pretty easy to work with.
And if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat window or on Facebook Live, and I will ask Vanessa.
Yeah. And so right now I'm going in, and I like to give a little bit of an arch at the top right here. And I'll round it out at the end right here. And I don't like to go too low underneath the eye, because I put things underneath that eye, and so that eye will naturally get bigger as I start adding more detailed work around the eye. So that's something to keep in mind when you're actually doing the base of your work, because if you go too far because you're thinking, with the skull it needs to be big, but then once you start adding more designs around it, then the eye just seems a lot bigger than it needs to be. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Okay. Somebody asked what the brush is. They're kind of lollipop swabs. I mean, there's a lot of different names for these things, but that's one of them.
Yeah, they're actually like medical tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They work fine. And sorry. The nice lady from Argentina is asking. No, the white was Krylon. I put a link up farther up the site. And Gilbert points out that Star Blend, hi Gilbert, is made by Maron. You can use it wet or dry, but usually use dry. That's right.
Yes.
That's my understanding as well.
So if you notice his eyes, underneath his eyes are, not painted. So I just have them look up and then just drag underneath. For most of the time, most men are very uncomfortable with this.
Danny, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so those are the eyes. And then what I do from here is, I'm already familiar with where I want my hollow spaces to be when it comes to a skull. It's his eyes, then it's his temples, then you have the socket right here, and then you're going to have the nose, and then some hollow ends in the forehead. So take a look at like a skull, like in the anatomy of it, and so that way what you're supposed to do as far as what a skull looks like. Now, it doesn't have to be precise, but we want to give the best illusion that we can with the paint that we have, right? So you're just going to fill that in like that, and that was super easy. Again, it gives me, just having this round part of my smoothie blender, I can just quickly go like that and give it a shade. But yeah, using the Krylon and then this all blends so well. This is paint underneath, but it really turns into like a powder base. So when I use these powders on top, it's just perfect. So I'll do the same thing on the top to just kind of give me.
So you're not, are you using any wax-based paints or not really? I mean, you're
not right now. So what I use my wax-based paints for is when I start actually doing some line work.
Okay.
Yeah. But as far as like the base of my sugar skulls, I like to use the powders as much as I can. And then it helps too when, it's like a hot day, it's a little bit easier to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
So right here, the same thing, you have to know where these hollow pieces go. I can just draw that out on each side and then go back in, and it's already kind of this outline for me, the base work. So this helps when you know like where everything's supposed to go. It's helpful.
My perception is that sugar skulls are just simply the most popular design out there. I mean, every time I have a contest with sugar skulls, it's like you're born, you become a face painter, and then you do a sugar skull and you take a photo of it. I mean, it's amazing how many people do sugar skulls.
Yeah.
And the variety of them is amazing.
Oh yeah, and that's why I love it. It's so much fun, and you really can't go wrong with it. I mean, it means something different to everybody, and that's why I love it. So that's the base of it. I'm going to now go in with my wax paints, and I'm going to do the teeth first and then do the line work. So for the teeth, I am going to use, and I did get this in the mail. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I love, I'm going to be honest, I really like the size of these because my brushes, I feel like with the other ones, there's so much other paint on the side that I don't get the full true split, but these ones I like because I get all the colors on one stroke.
Well, thank you.
So I'm going to go in with the white, and I'm using what's pretty much like a filbert brush.
Zoe asked, she struggles with jaw sockets every time. Any tips on jaw sockets?
So yeah, take a look at a book or a picture of a skull, and you'll see that the sockets, and again, it's going to be on how you want to translate it onto the face, because it's very different, right? And because some on other skulls, you'll see like a socket here at the end that connects here. I don't need to do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends. But usually you have, this is that the cheekbone. right? So you want to give the impression that this bone of the cheekbone is right here. And then this is going to be where the teeth come out. And this is the jaw. So you have this hole right here. So I give it a V right here. And then you fill it in right here like that. So it's just take a look so that way you know what it looks like. And then play around with it. Just play around with the different shapes that you can give it to give the illusion of that socket. And you know, I did say I was using a filbert brush, but I'm not. You can use a filbert brush. That's what I started off with. But I do like this brush, which is the Blazon brush by Marcella. I use it as the floral flat 6. I like this because it has a tip. And so all I do is stamp my teeth. So I'm going to do a stamp.
So it's the number 6 brush?
Yeah, and if you look, it just gives me the perfect shape of a tooth. I just need to press down at the bottom to give it a, you know, fatter tooth, but it gives me the tips that I need for the teeth.
Yeah, we had Marcella a couple weeks ago.
I know, I love her.
Marcella's great.
She's amazing.
Matter of fact, she's coming back in a couple weeks. She's going to be doing some. What is she doing? She's doing some airbrush tattoos, August 30th. So
okay.
August 31st. So 2 weeks from now.
I'll have to watch.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to go in with the black and do the outlining.
Okay.
And you know, right now, you guys, I'm doing this black and white base. You don't have to. If you follow me and you see some of my work, I do add a lot of color even when I do the men sugar skulls, and I'll add color later with line work. But you know, I'll do the black and then I'll add color to the shadows as well. So if I ask somebody, hey, like, what's your favorite color? And they tell me blue, then I'll go in with this and a blue shade of eyeshadow, and I'll start adding blue to the places where I did black, just to give it a little bit more color on there.
Right.
So don't be afraid to do that either. You know, we'll do a little bit of blue so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but I'll do it at the parts that aren't as dark. So away from the darkest place that you can get. Oh, I'm actually using the same one, so that's not working. But if I add like a blue to the inside of that, it just gives me a little bit more color on there. So don't be afraid to do that either.
Okay.
So now I'm going in with the black.
Yeah, I mean, the range of colors that I've seen on Sugar Skulls is pretty amazing. It's you don't have to do just a straight black and white Sugar Skull.
Yeah, but this, you know, just showing you different ways where you can add that color to it.
Absolutely.
So I'm just gonna do some outline to it, and I'm just going over with the eye. And so what I like to do with my sugar skulls, and what I think makes me go a little bit fast, is as I'm going, I'm pressing thin to thick on those places where I think I need more, you know, the thickness of the bone. So I'll go thick at the top and then taper off like that. I'll come thick again like that. And then the same thing here. I'm going to start from here. It's just easier for me to start from the tooth up instead of coming from down here. I'm going to start from the tooth, flick up, and then come back down here. I'm giving that end of that bone right there, and then connecting right here. So I'll show you on the other side a little bit faster so you can see really how fast it is. And so again, thick right here, and then you taper off thin. You'll start thin here, get thick and you want to create that jawbone, you're going to go a little bit thick and then taper off again. So
And
thin.
what brush are you using for that?
I'm using a round number 2.
Okay.
So if you saw, I went thin, pressed down hard to thick, thin, then pressed again. And really, you guys, it's like if you can do tiger lines, then skulls would be super easy because it's really like a tiger. It's like a tiger line like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just changing directions.
We've got a lot of videos on our YouTube channel of
Yeah.
how to do thin to thick. Everybody does. So just as a question, I forgot this. What was the name of the black again?
This is your black or the
Okay, no, for the
yeah.
lines, but for the base.
Oh, again, I use this Glam Light palette, but again,
Glam
any
Light.
black that you feel is pigmented, and as most women, you guys all know what black is a good black out there, so use that. You guys can see.
Hey, Zuri. My Siri always goes off when I say Zuri. It's just one of the funny things of my life.
So yeah, once you guys can get this line work down, it's pretty fast.
Like, how long does this design take you normally?
This one maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to finish off this right here and kind of round it in the middle as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll flick it and then round it just like that.
Uh-huh.
And for the nose, there's so many ways that you can do a nose. But you can just be really quick. Just add 2 lines. The nice thing about the nose is, it's not meant to be perfect. So the more organic that you can get that nose, the better. So now I'm just going to start doing outlining the teeth, and then we'll go in with some line work to add some color. So for the teeth, all I'm doing is going from one end to the other and flicking around it.
And in terms of men's designs versus women's designs, any tips or thoughts on that?
When anyone sits in my chair, I'm always asking them what they're looking for. They want a traditional skull. Do they want, are they okay with color? I do flowers. So it just depends. I usually ask what they want. There's so many that you can do. For flowers, you can add a simple flower design here, even in here, or right here, and right. There's so many different things that you can do. So I personally don't think there's too much of a difference between the men and women. It's just the only difference that I do is most men really want those teeth, and the women sometimes they don't because they have lipstick and they don't want to mess that up, and so they leave it on there.
Huh.
So yeah, but I would say that's the only difference. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with to add some color to it, and I'm using the petrol blue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a Silly Farm.
Okay, so Superstar.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put the link out there for everybody.
All right, and then so for here, I'm using a round number 2, and I'm going to go around with the eyes first and add some line work. And for me, sometimes for the men, I'll use this kind of line work around the eyes versus like maybe flowers. So, and with my teardrops, I'm going to be doing reverse teardrops. So I'm going to start.
Ah.
So I do 3 reverse teardrops, and then close it off. And I'll do the same thing at the bottom. I'll add some teardrops going down, and then finish and close it off at the other side on the. Just like that.
Okay. That was good.
And then I'll even just add that.
People are loving this design, by the way. There's a lot of praise out there.
Thank you.
Some of it's in Spanish, so I don't actually know what that is. But it says, tienes un estilo inigualable, te admiro. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, okay, that was embarrassing. I should just stop.
Good try. So
Yeah,
I just did the same thing on the other side. So now with the forehead, I'm going to come from, so a tip about these teardrops, you want to come always from one point. So I'm going to use this point and come teardrops from this point. This point, I'll come teardrops here. So just find a point, and then that should help you so that the teardrops kind of come from one point and then expand. So,
where did you get the backdrop? Somebody asked.
oh, Amazon for like $12. So with this one, all I did was a thick swirl, thinned it out, and then 2 teardrops. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are great, you guys. This is like a great filler instead of like, trying to figure out what to do in the middle or give it a, some type of big design. You just fill it in with some swirls and teardrops. And so we're gonna do some more on this side. So I'm going to give almost the same thing, the same idea as I did here with the big swirl, thin it out, and some teardrops. Just like that. There you go. And then we'll even do some from right here. Just like that. There you go.
Nice.
And then we're just gonna do a few more details, and then we'll be done.
Okay. I think
I'm going to go in.
the one I found on Amazon costs $36.
Oh, I'll have to share the link with you.
Okay.
Mine was not that much.
Okay.
So I'm going in with the number 4, and I'm just going to be adding some dots.
Oh, I found one. Okay.
In the corner of the eye. The outside.
Nancy says you make this look very easy.
Just like that.
Uh-huh.
You can even add some right here. And this is just to dress it up a little bit. Just like that. You can even do a little bit of extra highlight on the tips of those bones.
Yeah. So, Linda, I think, says that you make the teardrops and swirls look very easy. Any tips for first time?
Practice, 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 practice.
Yeah, the swirls thing is really there's whole courses on swirls and teardrops.
Yeah, teardrops. I would say reverse teardrops are my favorite. I feel like I have more control. I can do long teardrops, short ones, thick, thin, with the reverse. But it's really just practice, practice, practice. And then once you get it, it's just like it's so fun and easy.
Yeah, they're great. We also have a we have a group, the Learning Center for Face Paint 411 Facebook group, and we have a video out there with actually a downloadable, I believe, and you can message us there if you want, and we will get you sort of a practice piece of paper that you can print out and try just those kind of things because that's just one of those things. If you do it a million times, it works.
Yeah. So right now I'm just adding a little, you could be done with this right now, but I'm just adding a little bit more detail to the teeth. I'm using a makeup brush. It's super thin. And I find that the makeup brushes for this particular type of shading is easier because it's actually meant to kind of blend better. And so I'm giving the shadow of the teeth. And this brush is nice because I can give a thick shadow, but then also taper off and use almost like a pencil to give me some of those thinner lines. And the black that I'm using is again the same. It's the same black that I used around his eyes.
Another request came in. If you could, after this is over, email me some photos of these designs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and then if you want to take it a step further, again, you can start doing some shadows here, like just. I mean, you can keep going and just adding more. But we're gonna get to another one after this, so I'm gonna just do 2 more things for the teeth, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
So after I've done the black, I go in with my paintbrush and use a black paint and just lightly outline what I did with the shadowing. And it's just to make it a little bit more prominent. So
since Jacqueline's here, I've got to ask, what do you use glitter?
I do use glitter. Would you like some glitter?
On the next one.
Sorry, Jackie. I know my husband.
Wise choice, because you can never get glitter off.
Glitter.
It's forever.
But I will be painting Mia, and she will have tons of glitter. I have my vivid glitter right next to me, waiting for Mia.
Okay, good. Renee says that's an awesome face.
Thank you. So there's the black, and then we're just gonna go in with the white really quick on the teeth because I wanted to just highlight, make those teeth pop. So in between the teeth and the black that I painted, I'm gonna add some white on there.
On the gum line.
Yeah, on the gum line.
Except for you're a skull, so you don't have gums.
Yep. But isn't that the fun part of face painting?
Yes.
I can make a skull have gums.
Exactly right. All you need to do is give them a little dental floss. They'd be off to the races. A model for dental hygiene.
And there you go.
Terrific.
Look at that.
Fantastic. Well done.
Thank
Okay.
you.
That's really well done. And we've got 22 minutes for the next design.
Okay, we could do it.
Okay. Just so everybody knows, I get this question a couple of times. We are going to have the videos. It will be on our Facebook page, FacePaintcom's Facebook page. You can get it through our website, FacePaint.com, or you can just go to the Facebook and look it up, and you'll see it. And so, if you want to watch a replay of this, okay. So, who's next? Your daughter?
Yes, it's going to be Mia. She's my oldest daughter, so she's on her way.
Well, the praise is coming in. They love the Estefania loves your line work.
Thank you.
Beautiful
All right,
skull,
here she
beautiful
is.
as always. Hi, Mia.
Hi.
You haven't met me. You don't necessarily want to, I should also add. But if you do, I'm thrilled to have you here. So
Thank you.
this is great.
All
And
right,
look-
so we'll do, we're going to do a half face on her because I want to show a little bit more detail. If I do a full face, I probably couldn't do as much detail. So
Right.
we're
Fair
going to
enough.
do a half face on her. But you guys, I'll be honest, I love doing half faces because I really like kind of messing with the fact that you can kind of make things a little bit, you know, you don't have to make things so symmetrical. If you notice with Danny, they kind of had to be, and doesn't mean that you have to, because I've done full faces where they're not symmetrical. But with the half faces, it's just kind of fun when you have things kind of floating and hanging off to the side that really aren't part of the skull. So I'll show you that.
Okay.
So same thing, I'm using the Krylon white. And then
Wow.
this is really nice with the when you're doing half faces, as you're getting in towards the center, just kind of taper off like that. So you have kind of like this, so it doesn't create a harsh line.
Interesting. While you're laying down the base, just to give you an update of what webinars are coming up, we have Laura Pennick doing The Power of the Circle next week on Monday, and Marcella Bustamante on August 31st, and Elodie Tournois is doing Unicorns. And we have Elaine Go after that doing line work. And then Jacqueline is going to be there for Fast Halloween Designs on September 21st. Serena, the white is Krylon white. I have a link up above in the chat window. Oh, and the kabuki brush. People are asking what kabuki brush that is.
Actually, this is just an elf kabuki brush. I actually like those a lot. They're pretty dense. Sometimes I found other kabuki brushes to be a little bit too thin. And so you want something a little bit dense so that way it absorbs the paint better. And a lot goes a long way with the denser ones.
Maron's got one. You ever tried it?
I have not tried it, no. These are at my local store, so just kind of easier to get a hold of them. And when I'm doing festivals, I use a ton of them. So to get them all at like the same place, because I can find them at Target.
Awesome.
All right. So for the girls, I like to lay down some almost like what you would do for like blush, or you would do for contouring. I'll do that for the girls first. And so we'll go in with a color that I want to use. So we'll let Mia decide. What's your favorite color, baby? She wants blue.
Okay, blue it is.
All right. So we're going to go in. Oh, she changed her mind. We're going to go with like a burgundy. And so this is what I do. You know, when I ask somebody, you know, what's their favorite color, I'll kind of base it off of their color on what I'm going to actually do for them.
Okay.
And so I have this white base, you know, for Danny. But for the girls, I really start to bring out some of their bone structure with the different color that they've chosen.
Mia, how many times have you been painted as a sugar skull?
A lot.
This is not your first time to the rodeo, but it's the first time your father's been. So there you go.
So I'll do that, and then I actually go in with like a white color or light. This actually has like an iridescent to it, so it's almost like highlighting the cheekbones. You probably can't really tell too much, maybe just a little bit, but outside in the events, it's really like something that they like. And so that would be the contour part. So now we're going to go in and do her eye. And so just because she picked the burgundy doesn't mean you have to do the burgundy in the eye, but this is a really pretty color, so I am going to use it.
Mm-hmm. Good taste.
Yeah.
And just to let you guys know that have kind of come in halfway, we have 20% off for any order over $50 and free shipping on FacePaintcom for the next week. So just wanted to pass that along for those of you that are interested.
And then for the women, I do more of just a circular eye. I don't really have that angry brow that I give them.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what they're looking for too, but for the most of the time, you know, they're looking for something a little bit more girly, flowy. I do have women that come and they want like the skull, and so I'll do what I did to Danny, give them the brow, and then just add more flowers, more swirls, that type of thing. You would be surprised of Danny's look on a woman looks so good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the kind of look I prefer to wear.
So when do people get sugar skulls? Do they just get them around Halloween or Dia de
You know,
or?
it's it's Dia de los Muertos, so it's November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and so like a lot of people get it confused with Halloween because it's so close to it, but it's not during Halloween. It's after. So yeah, that's but a lot of over here in California, we do have a lot of festivals. And they do them around that time, which is like November 1st. It depends on when the weekend hits. Okay, so
Why do you use this? Why don't you like? I think you answered this question earlier, but someone asked, "Do you use why don't you use a sponge to put the eye color on?"
Oh, because this is so much easier. Whoever's asking that, try it with this, and then let me know.
Okay.
Because with the sponge, I don't have a sponge with me, but with the sponge, if you want a certain shape, I mean, if you look at how perfect that eye looks, as far as like how defined that circle looks, when you use a sponge, and don't get me wrong, people use sponges and they can do it. But for me, I just find this a lot easier because I'm not having to try and form my sponge a certain way so that I have to get that perfect round circle. And then plus, I don't use a sponge because I don't use paint around the eye. I use powder. For me, when it's so close to the eye like this and they're wearing it all day, makeup seems to just be a little bit more easy and pleasing too, because it's just,
Okay.
you know, you're not going to get all those wrinkles in the eye when you're using paint.
Do you seal the powder with paint? Or
Do I what?
Do you seal the powder at all?
Yeah, so I do have the Krylon sealer, so it goes over as soon as I'm done with it. Then I just spray over and it seals it. Yeah. All right.
That's a great question.
For Mia, we are going to do a pretty. Let's see. We'll do. I think. Huh? No, we're not thinking purple. We'll do. We're gonna do a yellow. I think will look pretty. She's looking at me like no, but she doesn't know because I do.
She's the artist.
Yeah. So this is the other thing. I only ask them, "What's your favorite color?" and that's it, and then the rest is mine.
Seems fair.
So what I'm doing is just adding a circular motion for the base of my flower. And then I start to kind of give it a little bit, almost like if I'm going to, pretend there's like a actual petals. So I'm going to add one there, and then I'm going to do one at the bottom, just like that. And I think this yellow is pretty. So, and then I'm going to do, this is where you can get creative and start doing flowers around the eye. You can do like here in the center. We'll do a little bit around the eye. So this is a nice and easy too, because you're not trying to be too perfect. You're just giving yourself some base work. And then we're gonna do some right here. I'm gonna do 3 small ones right there. So I'm doing 3 little blobs. Right? And then we'll come back and define all that.
Uh-huh.
All right. Actually, we'll do another one right here. Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go. This is the first. This will be like the first time I'm using a split cake, but I do mostly for like my parties and my little kids. I do mostly 99% of what I do when I do events like that is rainbow cakes.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to the sugar skulls, I don't. I really like using the powders, and line work is what I really like to use. So we're gonna go in with this one right here.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick up and I'm using a Cameron's what's this one called? It's Cameron's Romantic Rose. So it's just a small angled flat brush.
Okay.
And I use a small angled flat brush for these because it's just, I really want some quick and small leaves that are going to be wrapping around the eye and the flowers. So I start here and I'm going to just do something like that, and then I'm going to wrap it down, bring it back up again. I'll add one right here, right there. With the eye, kind of like wrap the top of her eye, the bottom of her eye. And I'll add some here. Just like that.
That is well done. Could you show that a little slower, because
A little slower? Okay,
that
we'll
was
do it right
impressive.
there. So I am just going in almost like just how we have like a triangle back and forth, flat to thin. And
Okay.
then when I come back in, you can flip, have that little flick. To go in the other way, you're just
Okay.
twisting as you go.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm. And so this is what I mean about, when you're doing a half face, it's just, I love how this is, especially when, if you have a client with, the other side of makeup, it's just a complete look. You may not think it is because you're only doing half the face, but when you start kind of trailing over a little bit for this bare face and you add a little bit of makeup, it really does look beautiful. So I love it. So I'm just gonna go in and with the other side of my brush and kind of give those lines in the middle of the leaves. You don't have to, but it's an easy step. All right, so from here, I will be going in and doing the line work. So let's go with the black.
Mm-hmm. So for those that are watching, this is Craze Black.
So I'm going to do a series. It's, the first time I ever did these flowers is when I went to Mark Reed's class. So it's just these tiger lines, and you just add the flower. You add some lines around so you get to the flower. So you start in the middle, just like that, and then you just start adding.
Can't really see it.
Some flowers
Okay.
like that.
Okay, got it.
Just like that. So I'll try right here, flat to thick to thin.
Uh-huh. Almost like a tiger line flower.
Yep.
Now we had Sally Ann Lynch doing roses. She did a version of this.
Oh yeah, her roses are beautiful. So just like
Yeah.
that.
That's fantastic.
You can go in and when you outline those leaves, that's when you can kind of give those little details with the swirl at the end, those type of things. Overlap them so that the leaves look like they're overlapping each other. Okay, so we're going to do the eye next. And so the eye, I'm just going to outline and then start adding the flowers. So.
Okay. You know what I love about face painting is it's temporary art done on the fly with sort of extraordinary skill. So it's as if Michelangelo was doing the south wall of the Sistine Chapel in 10 minutes.
All right, and then let's see.
You look great, Mia.
So we're just going to do the same thing. Add some flowers to the side of her eye.
Mm-hmm.
So with these flowers, I mean, they're super pretty. Any color, you can mix the colors with those powders. The line work is pretty simple, and so it makes for a fast sugar skull at an event. So I love these flowers. And there's so many ways that you can do flowers like these with the brush. With the powders.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do the same thing here. I have 3 little spots that I want to fill in, and I want this one to be the biggest one.
And you start at the bottom and you sort of build out from there, or are you just building multiple flowers?
I started off from the bottom because I wanted that one to be the biggest so that it's in front of the 2 small ones.
Okay.
So it depends on, what you want the flowers to look like and how you want them to be placed. So just like that. And then the same thing.
We have people from San Antonio, the Netherlands, Peru.
Hello. Thank you for watching.
International group.
Awesome.
We have a fair amount of Europeans too. It's amazing to me because it's really late there. You know, it's
Thank you for saying no.
yeah.
All right, so now we're at the bottom flowers. Same thing. Some.
So, what's your favorite sugar skull that you've ever done? Like, what's the craziest design that you thought, man, was I on fire?
Do you have a favorite? My daughter has a favorite.
Okay, Mia, what's your favorite?
It's the one where you did it and there was like feathers and it was like blue and orange and it was like a lot of detailing. It was like
I did
feathers.
almost like a like a dream catcher one, and it was mostly feathers instead of flowers. I did feathers. That one was a fun one. That was different.
A feather sugar skull. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should. We were talking about doing tigers next time, but maybe we should do a feather sugar skull. I would love to watch that. Okay. Sorry. It's no longer tigers. And this is January 18th for everybody. Let's do feather sugar skull. I want to see that.
So now I'm just doing the nose, and the nose for her, I'm just doing this. I try to do like a delicate nose for the woman sugar skull, and it's just a round. You have this kind of like U shape, and it kind of goes into the middle. So I don't like anything too big, but that's just for this design. Again, you can do any kind of nose.
How long does it take to do this design at a party?
For my half faces, I would say like maybe 6-7 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm taking my time on this one, but for me, these are like, this is super easy, super fast. I mean, if I were doing it in full time, yeah, I can do it very quick. So for here, we're gonna do the mouth part, and we're going to do the stitching, but we're gonna connect it here, right? So I'm going to give her kind of that little, almost like I did for Danny, but now her hollow end is this part, right?
We got a lot of people from all over the place. We got Kansas, Missouri, Denver, Sweden, New Zealand, 2 people from New Zealand, Mexico.
Wow.
I think New Zealand's under lockdown right now, so they're postponing the election. So, and I know Iris is from Ireland, so I know where she's from.
So we did the base work now. For her, I'm just going to add a little bit of like eyeliner.
Uh-huh.
And then I usually I'll just have her keep it closed until it dries a little bit. And I'm going to do a little bit more, just the like little details now, which is just going to be some dots and some extra line work here and there. You'll see. I'll probably do it in a little bit of a green, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking.
Also,
So when I do events, I give people the option if they want to pay a little extra to add gems.
Uh-huh.
But when I use this when I do like birthday parties and stuff, and gives the illusion of gems.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and of course, glitter.
I don't go all around the eyes either. I'm just not. I like that it just goes from one corner and then the other corner.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I'm going to go in with another round number 2, and I'm just going to add a little bit more line work. And I think I'm going to go in with a green. So let's go in like this. And I'm going to mix 2 colors because I don't want it to be just like a dark green. So, and And I'm just gonna start adding these little kits. I don't know if it's really coming up on there. So let me do it with the dark green.
Alabama, Belgium.
So I'm just adding these little round little wisps around flowers. I don't know if you guys can see that.
She said she heard that if you have teeth, the person being remembered is passed a long time ago, but stitches is for whatever
Yes.
amount of stitches is a more recent death.
Yes. That is true.
Huh. Okay. And it's one stitch per year that they've been gone or something like that?
Actually, I don't know how many years. I don't know if that's for years. I just know that with the stitching, it's for more recent, younger, and like for the teeth, it's when they were older. So let's do some lips. Normally, I don't have it with me. Normally, I actually use lipstick, and I'll use a like disposable applicator. But since she's my daughter and we're just here, we're just gonna use my paint, my regular paint. So.
Trayvon loves the detail on this design.
Thank you.
What brush? You used a number 2 brush for the roses?
For the line work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of my line work is going to be with the number 2. All right. She wants a red, so we're going to go with a red. Right. And then we shall add some glitter. So this is the fun part when it comes to the sugar skulls, because it is like, sugary with those, sugars. They have the sugar skulls because they're like sugar cookies. And so everything's super glittery. So let's go in with, I like to go in with this green. It's a dark green. It's the evergreen. And I put this on all the leaves. And I'm using the gel. It's the Gleam. And so I like it because it's, doesn't smear the paint. I can just drag it on those leaves.
And which green was it from Gleam?
Evergreen.
Okay, thank you. Everybody likes the nose, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
There's different kinds of noses for sugar skulls. Any tips for that?
Yeah, I want. There's so many that I use, and it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. This is more of a delicate look, and so I didn't want to do like a traditional skull nose, like something like I did on Danny. There's ones that look like an upside down V that connect, outlining the nose so that it looks like it's popping out. I mean, there's so many different ways. Again, the best thing that I can say when it comes to skulls is looking at pictures of different skulls, and then trying to replicate that on an actual face, because our noses are all different too. And so when you have someone that has a very thin nose, it's going to be really hard to get this kind of nose on there. So you got to learn how to use which nose with which face and which design. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And so then we're going to add a little bit of glitter onto the flowers. And for the flowers, I don't want to cover up the black. So I'm just going to go and spritz a little bit of water on my smoothie blender, pick up some yellow and just lightly add it to the sides. Not too much because I don't want to cover up everything that I just did.
Also, Mia's going to have to get it off. So how do you feel about color coordination with sugar skulls? Cody's afraid of using contrasting colors. She's afraid it's to be too much. Is that in terms of contrasting
colors? What do you mean?
I think I'm going to guess is kind of the color wheel discussion and what colors you should use in a design.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like again, that goes off of like learning the colors as well. You know, for me, I never really like sat down and studied the color wheel. I just, you know what your warm tones are, your cool tones are. And, you know, you look around, even with your split cakes, if you look at your split cakes, a lot of those colors they blend well together. So you can play off of that. If someone says, oh, I want a green sugars. I want green flowers. And this is why I did, when you look at the yellow and the green, they're, you know, most flowers are going to go with any green because they're leaves, right? And it's
right.
The flowers. But, you know, as far as other colors, even if you just look at the split cakes, that helps you too. So if you're just starting and you don't know the color wheel, look at your kit and you'll see that there's colors that are complementing each other. Practice with those colors first and figure out what you like, the warm tones, the cool tones. Because if you'll use all blues, it's just going to look like the same. And you want something that pops, even if it's just the flowers, or you want the eye to pop. So you just got to figure out how to play with those colors.
Now, is the feather sugar skull called a dream catcher?
Yes.
This title's coming together. So in January, everybody wants the dream. We won't call it a feather sugar skull. We'll call this a dream catcher sugar skull, I guess.
Yeah. So this is pretty much it.
Well, great. Thank you very much, Mia. Thank you, Vanessa. This has been fantastic. Thank you for everybody joining us. We have a bunch of webinars coming up. We have Laura Panic doing the power of the circle. So much more of a technical thing, which should help you learn about circles. And then we have Marcella coming back to do an airbrush tattoos the following week. So, and we have 20% off with $50 orders and free shipping. So go buy your face paint at FacePaintcom. And thank you, Vanessa. I hope it gets cooler. And I hope your kids can go to school. I hope COVID one day ends. I have a lot of hopes. Yeah. Well, thank you very much to do this. You were a fantastic artist, and thank Danny especially because
thank you.
That took a lot.
Yeah.
For him,
and thank you guys, everyone, so much for watching. For those who are far and away, and it's late. Good night.
Thanks a lot, and also email me those photos so I can post them.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody.
You.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.